the rap god Eminem dropped a surprise album called Kamikaze. Shout out to my brother David that put me onto it before I even found out, like through social media or anything like that, that he dropped a surprise album, which was a cool move. It's kind of like the OG thing to do now. You know, Jay does it, Beyonce does it, and in the climate of this new era that we're in, you know, not just in music or not just in hip hop, but like in politics and entertainment in general, there's so much content, so much good content, so much bad content, that everything is fleeting, everything is quick, everything is now. And we've lost a bit of the appeal that went along with the flair of anticipation or building anticipation and announcing that your album's going to come out on X date and dropping a couple singles before the album comes out and dropping a couple music videos and stuff like that. Like, that doesn't work the same way anymore. But the surprise, you know, like mic drop type of just drop your album on the fucking world type of thing seems to, because it catches people off guard and they're like, oh shit. And it doesn't give people a chance to pre-criticize the album like they did with Eminem's previous release, Revival, which dropped in December of 2017, which, if you guys know me, you know that I'm a huge Eminem fan. I even like the D12 Devil's Night album because I'm completely biased. But even I knew it wasn't his best work. And it was dope. I mean, it was good, but it definitely wasn't a lot of the Eminem that I most like, which is the angrier, cockier, I'm the shit version of Eminem. The I can wrap circles around everybody and their mother Eminem. The Eminem from most of the tracks in the Eminem Show. The I Am Eminem. The Marshall Mathers Eminem. The Renegade Eminem. The Forever Remix Eminem. And I'll get back to that in a second. The No Love with Lil Wayne Eminem, which to me really is his greatest verse of all time. But this Kamikaze album is chock full of that version of Eminem. So it was like a fucking lyrical wet dream for me. And it's absolutely true to the one of the lines in the Eminem Show where he says, the track is on some battle and rap, who wants some static? And he takes it back to the essence, to that battle rap shit, and goes at a shitload of people. And pretty much the most vocal critics of the Revival album, such as Machine Gun Kelly, which is actually one of the only people that has responded on Wax, you know, putting out a couple tracks against them, and then came back since then with another one called Kill Shot. Who else? He goes at Lord Jamar. He's always been vocal that Eminem is overrated just because he's white, and you know, in a bunch of like Vlad TV interviews. Charlemagne, Tyler the Creator, Joe Budden, DJ Academics, Be Real from Cypress Hill, I believe. At least I haven't heard too much from anyone else about that, but I picked up on that in the album. And I thought, and other people thought as well, that he went at Drake with a couple lines, but one specifically where he says, you got views, my views are higher than yours, so when we talk about views, you get overlooked. And you know, Drake had an album called Views from the Six. He called himself the Six God. So that's why people attributed that line and one about ghostwriting to Drake, because Drake has used ghostwriters. However, in the interview that Eminem had with Sway, which I'll get to right after this, he says that he didn't intend any of those lines for Drake. Well, actually, specifically, he said the ghostwriting line. He said he didn't intend that to Drake. He was just speaking about the ghostwriting in this era in general, because it seems to be like widely accepted. He said that he wouldn't go at Drake because Drake did something for one of his daughters that he would always appreciate, and pretty much because of that, he wouldn't cross that line with Drake, which is pretty cool. Shows some loyalty, which you've always gotten a sense of from him, which is probably why the Joe Budden thing hit so hard, because Joe Budden was signed to his label, and Joe Budden was at first not a big critic, not as vocal as he became about the album. What else? The track he did with Joyner Lucas is my favorite one on the album as of right now. I played that during episode 107 of the Spun Today Podcast. It was the beach episode that I did with my boy Pablo. I played Eminem's verse to that song in the outro. That was the outro song. So go back and check that out, or just YouTube the song. It's a really cool video that they have, actually, that they put out for the song, and it's kind of funny, and it's dope. It's just a dope duo right there. And I first heard of Joyner Lucas from an Everyday Struggle interview that I saw him on, and then I decided, I kind of liked his perspective in the interview, so I decided to look up some of his music, and I stumbled upon a video that instantly made me a fan just because of how creative it was, and it was called Racist, I believe is the name of the song. It's pretty much, if you Google it, Joyner Lucas Racist, it'll come up, and it's a chubby white guy with a Make America Great Again, a MAGA hat on, and he starts talking, and he's sitting at a table, and you just see the camera on his face, and he's just talking about like black people and pretty much the stereotypical point of view, or what you would think the stereotypical point of view of a white person would be about black people, well articulated and seemingly engaging in constructive dialogue with the black person that's sitting on the other side of the table. Then the perspective shifts to the black person, equally as articulate about stereotypical, what you would think the black point of view is about the white person, in a seemingly constructive, open dialogue type of situation, which is cool because it kind of gets you thinking in that direction of kind of like a way, or a path rather, to understanding each other in general. And it's just interesting to watch and to try to digest the points that each side is making. It's like, oh, I agree with that. Oh, and I agree with that also from the other side. Oh, I don't agree with that. Oh, I don't agree with that from the other side. And vice versa. Anyway, and in this video, Joyner actually shouts out Eminem twice. Once from the white perspective and once from the black perspective. Like each one of them use Eminem as to make some point. Like the white guy says, and fuck Eminem, you guys can have him, he ain't white no more, some shit like that. And the black guy says something to the effect of, Eminem drawing the line in the sand and standing up for our side is really important. Anyway, I'm sure that helped. But anyway, Eminem said that he also loved the creativity from that video, and that he was onto Joyner's music, and that video is what made him want to do a track with Joyner. And he said that Joyner takes you on a journey with his music that you don't snap out of until the song is over. And that's exactly, when I heard Eminem say that, I was like, that's how I fucking feel about Eminem's music. Like, whatever the story is, whatever the pictures that he's painting, I'm like completely in it. Like Joey from Friends in his map in London, completely in it. And I don't snap out of it until the song is over. And they made a really, really dope track together. Definitely one of Eminem's top collaborations from up there with the likes of Renegade with Jay-Z and No Love with Lil Wayne. This track is definitely up there. And again, watch the video because the video is cool and it's funny. Oh, one thing that was sad to listen to was Eminem's song to D12, where he pretty much told each of the members of D12 that the group is over and that he'll always have love for them. They're, boys since like childhood, but that it's not the same anymore. The group isn't a group anymore. That, there's not going to be like another D12 album or anything like that, but that he'll do everything in his power to support them in whatever their next endeavors are in the future. And, it's a classic, wear his heart on his sleeve Eminem song, like similar to like the songs about Kim or his mom. Not the ones that he's like killing them, but the ones that he's like really introspective and wearing his heart on his sleeve type of thing. So that was sad to hear, but also made sense at the same time. Like if you follow Eminem in his career and what he's up to and stuff like that, and what those guys are up to, it's like definitely not on the same page. And then something dope that I didn't pick up on until I saw like a video breakdown of like one of the songs or some of the lyrics rather from the album. And the video pointed out a line where Eminem says that sorry if he took forever. And by took forever, he's referring to he took the song, it's like a subliminal. He took the song forever from, meaning he like overtook and, did better than the other three rappers that were on that song, which were Drake, Kanye, and Lil Wayne, which he absolutely did. But to just say it like that, if it is true, it's pretty cool. Pretty dope. And that's like the shit that I definitely like to see, in the spirit of hip hop and competition. It's a dope album, man. Check it out, called Kamikaze. And he speaks about it a lot in this interview with Sway. Now, the interview with Sway got some shit because, and I was a little annoyed at first too, because the interview dropped in 4 different parts on 4 different days, like back to back to back. And it was like, why not drop like the whole shit in one shot? But you know what? I kind of like it because it made it more digestible. It was like 15-minute chunks. And I mean, now that the video's out, after those 4 days, it's like, that's it. You could watch it. You could binge watch it. You could watch the full interview back to back anyway, from here until eternity. So it's a moot point after the first 4 days. But within the first 4 days, you kind of have that ability to control people ingesting it. They take it in 15 minutes at a time and they have to digest it. You let it marinate. You let some of the things that were spoken about like settle. And I feel like kind of like more stayed with me from that interview than other interviews that I liked. Like, for example, Jay-Z's interview on Rap Radar, which I saw like in one shot, like the whole thing. So there's something to that. It's also similar to like the UFC embedded. Like, for those of you that aren't UFC fans, that may have seen like a boxing 24/7 type of thing where they follow the boxers around before the fight, and they show like a series of a few days worth of that. The UFC's version of that is called Embedded, and they release it, like the 5 days leading up to a big fight. And they do it, that way as well, which they release, one video on day 1, another video day 2, another video day 3, and so forth. And then the next day is the fight. And I don't know, I actually like anticipated them. I looked forward to them. I looked for them because I wanted to continue the interview and finish it. It definitely builds anticipation. Just like those 24/7s made me want to watch many a boxing event, as do the UFC embeddeds. So there is something to it. Even though I love long form interviews, it's like this way you can have both. You can have the short, digestible, anticipation building aspect of the interview, and then after 4 days, you have your long form interview. So best of both worlds. Also, it's cool to see, since M doesn't do a lot of interviews, but Sway is one of his guys. He's on Shade 45, which is Eminem's Sirius station on satellite radio, Sirius satellite radio. So I'm sure it was a comfortable setting for him. And in that interview, he said certain things, like, he broke down, people that he went at and stuff like that, and the reasons why, and spoke more to the D12 thing, and stated how Proof, which was a member of D12 that was killed, how he was like the glue that held like that group together. And with his passing, things just unraveled and people lost touch, and it's a powerful, sad situation, so it's understandable. Or M's a piece of shit and I'm just an Eminem apologist. I don't know. I'll let you decide. That's also where he said that he wouldn't go at Drake and that the ghostwriting lines weren't about Drake, etc., etc., etc. A lot of gems. I also linked to part 1 of the 4-part interview in the episode notes of this podcast for you guys to be able to listen and find it. And from there, I'm sure you'll find your way to parts 2, 3, and 4.